welcome back to my channel. Excuse my appearance. I just got done working out and it's still early in the day for me, so I didn't feel like getting ready. I have a lot of stuff I need to do today, so excuse. But today is my tarot chat. We're going to talk about my decks I used last week and the decks that I am going to use this week. So let's talk. So last week, the main deck that I wanted to use was Intuitive Night Goddess, and oh my goodness, she is beautiful. Excuse the fly. This deck is just, it's something else, you guys. It feels very spiritual to me. It feels very deep to me. And I loved it. I loved working with it. I worked with it by itself. I did not pair it with any kind of an oracle deck. I did have my Moon Witch Oracle out to possibly pair with it, and it does go really well with this deck, but I just felt like I wanted to work with this deck by itself. I had some really good readings with it. I didn't read with it every single day. Just when I felt like I wanted a reading is when I pulled this out, and I pulled one card because I really wanted to absorb the message. Now, I had a really insane experience with this deck the last time that I used it. So the last time I used it was on Wednesday of last week, and I pulled Eight of Wands. Now, Eight of Wands is a card I like almost never pull. If you guys pull tarot cards for yourself, you probably can relate. There are cards you pull pretty much like all the time, and then there's like off, at least for me, there's cards that I pull that are just kind of off from the normal for me. So Eight of Wands was that. And I didn't really know what it meant. My life is not an Eight of Wands usually ever. I have a very slow-paced life at this point right now. Everything's kind of just, I can take my time, or it's just not fast moving. And this card also has fire on the wands. And so I left it on my desk because I didn't really know what it was trying to tell me. Okay, I'm just looking through the deck because I wanted to make sure, but for some reason the fire really stood out for me on the wands, because there's not any other fire in this deck, and I don't know, that is kind of what I fixated on when I pulled the card, and I was like, I wonder what this means. And immediately the next day, I was woken up by my husband, who was panicking because our neighbor's house was on fire. And I do live out in the middle of nowhere, but recently, a few months ago, we had some neighbors that moved in pretty close to the edge of our property, and their house was on fire. And it was just a panic, and everyone was just running around, and the fire department took forever to get there, and my in-laws live where we live, and they were over, and it was just panic and fast movement, and the fire it took the house pretty fast. And I'll insert a picture. Everybody's okay. Our house thankfully did not get touched. And so, yeah, I had a really scary, like, accurate thing happen with this, because, again, for me to pull an Eight of Wands is really weird. I never really pull an Eight of Wands. So it seemed significant to me. It seemed something different than the ordinary. And for it to so closely relate to what happened the next day was kind of scary. So, yeah, this deck is very powerful. It has this deep spiritual kind of goddess knowing to it, and so yeah, it's really beautiful. And as I was kind of looking through it right now, it's just beautiful. It's like the fool's journey when you're traveling and you're meeting all these people. All these different women are just so beautiful in their own way, and I love how diverse this deck is. It shows a lot of different kinds of women and shapes and skin colors, and it's really beautiful. And I did read the beginning part of the guidebook, which is really beautiful. I didn't read the whole guidebook because I kind of want to save it for when I pull those specific cards. But I read the intro, which is really beautiful, and they go through what all of the court cards kind of mean, like a summary. And I think that's really beautiful. It talks about how the nymphs, which are the beginning or the page of the courts are kind of this beginning. You're just free, you're figuring things out. And the spirit of the suit, which is normally the king, is like this, you've embodied that suit completely. You've reached this point of all knowing and things like that. So I think it's really a beautiful deck, and I do want to bring this into next week. I'm not done with it yet. So this is going into this week's decks. The only other decks I used was, I finally did a reading for myself with the Santa Muerte, and I basically just asked the deck, how will our relationship be together, the two of us? And I pulled the Two of Cups, which soulmate, equal, you get things equally from each other. So I think that was really beautiful, and so I just feel really connected to this deck at this point. I know that it wants to work with me and I want to work with it. So yes, and I know, guys, I know it's an inanimate object, but I do personify my decks quite a bit. So anyways, so now I definitely am going to probably start the series this week where I go into this deck and we deep dive. We're going to go through every card. We're going to start with the Fool and with the King of Pentacles, or whatever it is that the order is going to be in. And yeah, so I'm really excited for that. I'm really excited to deep dive with this deck and get a very clear understanding of each card, because they do kind of stray from normal Rider-Waite. And yeah, I think that'll be really fun. I think it'll carry us over into like Halloween. So I think that'll be fun. So this deck is staying out, but for that purpose. So Santa Muerte. And then I didn't have this deck out last week as a choice, but I brought out my Crimson Hysteria. This is a newer deck to me. I focused on it the week before last, and I couldn't not pull it out. I pulled it out for my new moon reading that I did. So I absolutely love this deck. I think I'm going to put her away this week, but who knows? She'll probably come back out. Okay, so last thing I worked with, which was for a client reading, was the Pamela Coleman Smith Tarot. This is an RWS deck that is very like light washed, and oh my gosh, you guys, I had it out last week to read with for clients, because I love using my regular RWS decks for client readings. And this deck read so beautifully, and it was just an instant like connection, and it was just, I love this deck. And the cool thing about this deck, you guys, is the cardstock. I think this is the best cardstock I have on a Rider-Waite Smith deck. Like, it's just beautiful, and it's US Games. And my main RWS deck that I love is US Games, but it's very cardboardy cardstock. This is beautiful and easy to shuffle, and it just worked so beautifully. So this is going to be a staple on my desk now. I have her next to my other RWS deck, and I think this might overtake client readings just because of how easy it is to shuffle. And yeah, I paired it with Sacred Destiny, and it was, again, beautiful. I think this is a new kind of favorite that I'm going to be using for client readings, just because of how wonderfully it worked together. So I'm really excited to use this more in client readings. So if you want a reading from me, please book one. I have all my stuff linked down below. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So love these two together. Match made in heaven. Okay. Now let's talk about the decks I want to use this week. So we're going to keep out Intuitive Night Goddess. This is a new deck that I got last week, and I really want to play with it this week. So this is the Untamed Animal Spirit Oracle. This is a new release. There was something about this deck that felt very like academic, or like, I don't know, like when you go to the zoo and you read about the animals, and it just seemed very like informative and not just using the animals in this like spiritual sense, but also learning about the animal itself. And these are beautiful, beautiful cards. These are the backs. They're black and white, and they basically just say the name of the animal, and they have 2 beautiful keywords, and there's just something so calming about this. I have quite a few animal decks at this point, and I don't know, I haven't found one that's like perfect for me yet. That's like my favorite animal deck. And this one, it might be up there just because I really love the coloring, and I love how it uses multiple keywords, and it's well-rounded. It's not all good things. It's, you know, it's versatile in that way. And yeah, something about the black and white is just very calming and very like, feels like flashcards from my childhood, or I don't know, it's just really, really beautiful. And so I brought out Pagan Otherworlds to work with this week with this, because I feel like this deck works really well with like black and white, and it also has like this cream color to it, so I think that they'll work together really well. I'm trying to keep everything together. We have B, responsibility and dedication with the star. So because I wanted to work with this, and I also wanted a tarot deck to work with it, I decided to bring out Pagan Otherworlds, which I've been so obsessed with over the past few months anyway, so I'm just happy to have this back in the rotation. So yeah, so that is one deck I kind of want to work with and play around with a lot since it's new to me. And then the other kind of pairing that I've been thinking about a lot, and I was like, yeah, I think these will work well together, and they're both decks that I feel like I've kind of neglected. So the tarot deck is the Slow Tarot. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck. I got this pretty recently, like around my birthday, so a few months ago. And I just feel like I haven't played around with it as much as I probably should. Look at that, 8 of Wands again with the fire. I feel like we don't always see that. Interesting. This is a really beautiful deck, and it reminds me of real life, and it also reminds me of like fantasy and like circus vibes, which will make sense for the Oracle deck I want to pair it with. But I don't know, it's like real life, but at the edge of it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like there's modern things about it, and then there's non-modern things about it, and it feels really beautiful. And I actually just started reading a book that has this kind of like sci-fi, like modern, but set in like this apocalyptic type world. And I feel like this will pair really well with my reading this week that I do. So beautiful, beautiful deck. Very excited to work with it. And the deck I wanted to pair it with is the Divine Circus by Alana Fairchild. This is my only Alana Fairchild deck. It's really beautiful, and I've had really potent readings with it, but it's kind of been on the back burner just because of everything else. But I feel like these two will just pair really, really beautifully together. I know you guys can't see like super well in these videos, so I apologize, but yeah. So I'm really excited to have this kind of be the focus of the reading. So I really like to do that. I'll put the Oracle card in the middle as the focus, and then I'll bring in tarot as added messages, or to help me decipher this main message that I've set out. So I think these will work really, really well together. So those are the decks that I'm going to be using for this week. So I'm super excited about that. I think this has been really fun, just playing with my decks and playing with what I already have. I've just been in this very grateful kind of a mood lately, or this just very full of gratitude for the things that I have and for the life that I have, and that I'm still here and I'm still breathing. I don't know, it's just been that's just been the energy I've been feeling lately, which has been really beautiful, instead of feeling this panicked energy of I don't have enough or I need more or whatever it is. I've just been very just grateful for what I do have, and that's been really, really nice. And in that kind of same vein, I have a lot of videos that I want to film this week with tarot that I already have that are kind of doing fun tags with my decks. I want to film some readings for the channel because I haven't done that in quite a while. I just was feeling, I don't know, I just wasn't feeling like reading a lot, and now I'm just feeling super inspired to do more tarot readings for my channel, and I'm thinking about doing shorts. I don't know, let me know what you guys think about that for this channel. I might make a new channel that's just specifically shorts, that's sharing my reading, and I don't know, I'm just really proud of the readings I've been giving lately, and I want to share that more with you guys. So yes, other than that, I've been doing really good. I want to know, how have you guys been? What's been going on in your life? I hope everyone's healthy and happy and safe, and I hope everyone has a magical rest of your week. Please stay tuned for lots of videos this week because I'm in a filming mood. So I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.